What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jerome Jones, and I'm here with my man, the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm doing great right now. I don't know if you noticed, guys. My. I know this is a football podcast, but I gotta do a little quick shout out to my guys down there in Denver. And no, I'm not talking about the Broncos. The Denver Nuggets first time are going to the championship finals for the NBA. Definitely proud of my guys. Got to meet Jokic last year. Um, Super awesome, man. Super awesome to see them doing that. So I had to represent a little bit. So, I usually wear my Eagles or my Michigan. I had to put on Denver for this podcast for this one. So, unfortunately, my other team that I like, Sixers, which, raised the team. They're not in it, but I have another team that's, I like the Nuggets a little bit more, and I have been for a couple of years now. So, go Nuggets. Congratulations on that team. Really talented young team. Beat the King to get there. So I'm super excited to see how the finals go. And it's cool because it's either going to be the Heat, who got Butler, but I wanted for the Sixers, who I wanted to say on Sixers, or it's going to be Celtics, a team that I hate. So I would love to beat Celtics. So that'd be cool. But anyway, enough about in the NBA. Wanted to talk about some football, some college football. We're still talking about the draft, though. So we're still talking about the draft. We're doing day 3 of the NFL draft, and we're going to kind of do a quick run through each of the rounds and talk about some players, some selections that we thought were interesting that we're going to talk about. So, ready?
Go ahead.
Talking to you.
I'm ready.
Ready to go. All right, awesome. Yep. So let's get right into it. We're going to go into round 4. So, Ray, let's start it off. Let's get the first player you want to kind of talk about in this round.
I mean, what I did is I know we don't really want to go through every pick, so I kind of picked out a handful in each round that I really thought were there's a lot of good picks, but again, we could be here for 3 hours talking about every good pick. So there were certain ones that I thought where guys fell into the rounds below, and they were the ones I wanted to bring out. And the first one is cornerback Kelly Ringo from Georgia, who was drafted by the Eagles. Yeah. Again, there's some injury concerns or medical concerns that I don't think any of us knew about going into the draft, and that was why he fell. But even the guy was taken in the 4th round, and he's a second-round player, easy. Yeah. So, that's a great pick. I like the Colts getting Blake Freeland out of BYU, an offensive lineman, who, again, was projected to go late round 2 or round 3 and wind up going in the 4th round.
Definitely. Let me just backtrack a little bit because I want to talk about Ringo as well. Ringo obviously going to the Eagles, my team. I wasn't too high on Ringo being a first round corner. I know a lot of people had him projected in the first round. Athletic abilities there. But for me, he's a little tight in the hips. He when he plays against the better competition, he gets smoked most of the time. So that always concerned me. I do like the fit as being a 4th round pick. It didn't matter what team it was. I know he went on the Eagles, which I like, but I like it even better because he's on the Eagles because he's in back of 2 really stud guys. He also have an opportunity to compete at safety positions. So a lot of people are thinking he could be a safety, which I'm not sure about safety. I know he can tackle, but it's different tackling as a safety. So that's always concerning for me. So I do like that pick. I think it's a very good value pick. And I know the whole Eagles drafting Georgia guys is a thing, but they're getting them at their premium spots where they should, they're getting for value. So I think where they're getting them at, it speaks volumes.
Yeah, I just think that I do agree with you that he's a little bit tight-hipped, but I think that if you ask him to play press coverage, he'll be pretty good at that. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles usually like their corners to do that. At least one of them will be that guy. So I think it's a good pick. I think his value, again, his hits are a little tight. That's why I don't see him as a safety. I see him as a boundary corner. I think that's what he's going to be. So,
Definitely. You mentioned Blake Freeland, a guy that we got to interview at the Senior Bowl. good lineman from BYU. I think he's a solid guy. I think he got to work on his pass blocking a little bit more, but a guy they're gonna anyway. So to have somebody like Freeland, not sure if he's gonna be a immediate starter. We'll see how training camp goes, but he's a guy that you can eventually put him in that starting lineup and be a good run blocker for you guys. For them guys, I'm saying you guys like you're a coach.
Yeah. I think as a right tackle, I think he would be a pretty good solid job there. I do think he needs to put on 15, 20 pounds of muscle. I do. He's a little light for a tackle, and he's only like a little over 300 pounds at 6'8". So I'd rather be closer to 320 or so.
Yeah.
But I think once he gets that core strength built up, I think you're going to have a pretty solid football player because his feet are good.
I agree.
They're very solid.
I definitely agree. All right, let me pick a guy that I kind of want to highlight real quick. And excuse me for the name because I'm terrible at name, but I'm the best. Aditome Iwa. Dibaware. From Northwestern, a D tackle, very athletic. Being at a smaller school, he didn't get a lot of attention, but coming out of Northwestern and got to see him at the Senior Bowl, he looks the part. He could be a solid guy, and at least in the rotation at first. But I think he's gonna be a starter eventually. You got him right next to Will Anderson, dude. Athletes, you got some athletes on that defensive line. What do you think about him, Ray?
No, actually, he was my next guy I was going to go over, to be honest with you, Jerome. Nice. I like him a lot. I think, again, projected as an early, third-round pick. You get him here in the fourth round. He has some versatility, play some three-tech for you, maybe play some defensive end, some tackle. Very versatile type of an athlete. I like this pick a lot, actually. So.
Definitely. No, I do a lot as well. Go ahead, Ray. You have another guy you want to kind of highlight in the round four?
Yeah, I have two more guys for this round. I have Clark Phillips from Utah, corner, again, who was a projected, late second round, early third round, and you get him here in the fourth round. Nice quality player. I think it's a very, very good value. And I'll give you one more, and maybe you can give me what you think of them, and maybe if you have somebody else. I have Tyler Scott, wide receiver, going to the Bears. A guy who can fly. So he's a legitimate 4-3 guy, 4-3-1, 4-3-2. Someone who I think Justin Fields needs someone who can get vertical on his team. So I think that he's going to be a nice player for them down the road. So.
No, I agree with Tyler Scott. Definitely a speed guy. To kind of stay on the lines of receivers, though, I just want to kind of highlight that the Chargers, after getting their big guy in the first round, they went and got a speedster in Darius Davis, a guy that we got to interview at the Senior Bowl. He's a speedster. I actually wanted him on the Eagles late, maybe not this early, but maybe later as a kick and punt returner start off, and then you can put him in some gadget situations where he can do reverses and stuff like that. I think he's a perfect guy for something like that. And two things the Chargers like: they like speed or they like big guys. So they definitely got both of them in this draft. So I wanted to kind of highlight that. Before we get out of fourth round, I definitely want to talk about guy in particular, especially for my Georgia guys down here, Stetson Bennett. Being picked in the fourth round by the Rams. What was your thought on that?
It's a bad pick.
It was a lot higher than I thought. I thought of him as like a 6th round pick, honestly.
I would not have touched him until at least the 6th round. But again, that's just me.
Especially with some of the legal issues that he was having. I mean, it wasn't egregious, but being drunk and disturbing the peace, essentially. I thought that would have knocked him down a little bit, and again, it's not egregious, but it also adds to the talent that he has. I'm not super sold on him as a quarterback. Maybe he could show me wrong. I know I got my Georgia guy is going to kill me for saying stuff like this, but I wasn't a big fan of Stetson Bennett as far as his talent wise. And after that, he got the legal issues, so I thought he was gonna get knocked down at least till like the fourth. I know the Rams didn't have any high draft picks and had a buttload of draft picks later in the round, so they could have just took the approach of, hey, let's get guys that we like, no matter where they are in the draft. Let's get them, make sure we have them, and see how they go. We got enough picks. I think they had like 10 picks, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot for a team that didn't even have a first round pick. So
I just think that if I know the Rams are desperate to add quarterback to the room,
yeah,
I just think there were guys with higher upside than Stetson Bennett. I mean, like, get me wrong, he played with a lot of talent in school. You
yeah.
think, well, maybe that'll help him be a distributor at the NFL level. I guess it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see a lot of upside there. I think he is what he is.
Yeah.
He could be a solid system type quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But there were guys, again, Aiden O'Connell from Purdue, Clayton Tune from Houston, who I just feel like have a bigger upside than Stetson Bennett. If you're going to take a shot on a kid there, why not take a shot on a guy you can develop who actually has some physical tools? Yeah. Stetson Bennett is a solid athlete, solid arm, but that's all you're going to get out of him is solid.
Yeah.
So, I actually drove my 3 picks in this round that I didn't like. Bennett was one. Ventrell Miller, linebacker for Florida, I was not crazy about him. Again, we talked about somebody who, in a league where you need to be a pass coverage guy too, even at linebacker, he's very stiff, man. I don't see it. And Chad Ryland, kicker from Maryland in the fourth round.
We interviewed him too.
Do I got to say anything else? So
yeah, I know how you feel about the kickers being early, definitely. So we talked about that in our last podcast. All right, let's get to the fifth round, Ray. Couple of guys that stand out to me. I like in here. Let's hear what you got, Ray. Round 5.
I have Clayton Tune, quarterback from Houston. I think who's a developmental kid who has physical traits and tools that you can work with. As a 5th round guy, I think that's a great value for that kid. I think, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a prospect where, I could see him being a starter down the road. I see starter traits, but you do have to develop this kid.
Yeah.
And I'll give you one more, then maybe you can give me something. I have Israel Abukwanda from the running back for Pittsburgh. I think the Jets getting him in the 5th round was a very nice guy you could add to your running back room. So, again, good value. I don't know if you have anybody you want to go. I have 3 more guys, but if you have anybody, go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to highlight at least 1 or 2 guys real quick. Darius Rush going to the Colts as a corner. I like what the Colts did in this draft. They got a lot of good value guys. I think this is a good spot for him going around here. Again, this draft is corners and running backs. It's deep at both positions. So, if you can draft one of those positions and just stack up one good players, you can, because this was a deep draft for this. And I think Darius Rush was one of those players, South Carolina guy, like his length, good coverage skills. I like him a lot. Talking about Clay Tune, the next pick right after that, Darius Thompson Robertson going from UCLA to the Browns. I think it's good because it's a very similar skill set to Deshaun Watson. You can get him doing some of the more similar things. Now, Darian Thompson and Robinson is a little bit more of a athletic quarterback, where Deshaun Watson is a little bit more pass pocket presence, but they both still have the same skill set. So if something happens to Deshaun Watson, you don't have to switch up your playbook too much. And I think that was a good value pick back there in the 5th round.
I agree. I think he's a good spot. I think he's a player with absolutely backup potential. And even though he's a little bit of a smaller, not quite as athletic Deshaun Watson, so it is a nice pick there.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Ray, who else you got?
I got Cameron Mitchell, cornerback from Northwestern. I have him. He went to the Browns. I like him a lot. I hate these names. Alusian Alawatmi, offensive lineman from Michigan.
Yeah.
I
I
hate the
Ray,
name.
I'll tell you, I never in my life say his name fully. I always call him Double O because
Okay, well,
I
that's
could
what I'm going
never.
to do. I'm going to call him Double O. I like him a lot. I think he's a good, really nice player.
Uh-huh.
Went to Michigan, which I know you know a lot about him.
Yeah.
I think getting him here in that spot, the Seahawks really the last few years have really had some nice drafts, man. They really have.
They have. Definitely. No, I agree.
And my last guy is Nick Hampton.
Okay.
The Rams drafted him, the edge player from out of Appalachian State. Really nice player. I like him a lot. So
definitely. Yeah, for sure. I like this fifth round. I mean, there's plenty of guys I can specifically talk about, but I wanted to highlight just a few more. What's his name? Jimmy Robinson going to the Carolina Panthers. If he can learn how to cover a little bit more better, he can be a good complement to what's his name? I'm forgetting his name. We interviewed him too. We interviewed all these guys. Jeremy Chin. Sorry, he could be a good compliment to Jeremy Chin. I think that would be a real good compliment with those two back there. Noah Sewell going to the Bears. I mean, I like him going there. It's a little bit of smaller guy, but you can utilize him. And I know the Bears defense, they really good at developing their linebackers, their inside linebackers. I think he can do a real good job in there for them. And then the other one I wanted to highlight was what's his name? Sorry. Shoot. Who was the guy I was talking about? Puka Nanuka from BYU going to the Rams. I think he's going to be a nice solid guy. A little route runner dude that they can use in the slot. Might be able to pin him in punt return. We'll see how that goes, but I do like him as a contributor on our team. All right, so let's highlight at least one or two bad ones that we didn't like, and I'm gonna start this one off because I damn near laughed when I seen this. And Ray, we both not a fan of this player, but Green Bay taking Sean Clifford from Penn State in the 5th round. Considering there were some quarterbacks that was undrafted or drafted later or even still in the draft at that point, it just kind of confused me why they got him in the 5th round. I think there was better talent there, especially the fact that that's if you was gonna take a chance on a guy, you want to do this kind of pick when you still have Aaron Rodgers. You did this pick when you have Jordan Love, who I still think Jordan Love is gonna have a successful career. Obviously, I don't think he's gonna be Aaron Rodgers, but I think he's gonna be a solid guy. But to bring in somebody to help out that position with a guy that's very questionable himself. Now, I will admit he did look a little bit more impressive last year. He was, but he's like a 6-year senior or something like that. And it took him that long to, develop a little bit. So, and it wasn't like he was groundbreakingly better. It was like, oh, okay, he's not being as turnover prone that he was before. So, what do you think about that one, Ray?
I'm not a Clifford fan. There were guys. I like Jaron Hall a little bit more from BYU. I would have jumped on him. Or I like Tanner McKay a little bit more than him. I think if you're going to take a guy who has upside, you take one of them two guys. I think that Sean Clifford is what Sean Clifford is. He's a like sets and bet. He's a good, solid athlete with a solid arm, but nothing stands out about him. Right. If you look at Jaron Hall, I can tell you he's really a really good plus athlete with a nice quick release. I know what I like about him. I'm not saying he's got NFL starter potential either, but I know what I like about him. Tanner McKee, big sturdy guy with a solid arm. He can stay in the pocket and throw the ball downfield a little bit. So I know what I like about them guys. I don't know what to like about Sean Clifford, except for yes, he's played better last year and the year before that. He played a little better than he had. But again, Talking about a guy that's in his mid-20s playing against 18-year-olds. No crap.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with that notion, right? Anybody else you want to kind of highlight that he wasn't hot on a pick?
I mean, I hate to say this because I was a little higher on the kid. I don't know if Henry To'o should have been drafted at all after watching this game film. Now, I do see a guy who, if you put him in the right system, could probably be a good, solid 2-down linebacker. But talking about a guy who misses leads and really just didn't look out of place playing linebacker last year for Alabama. Now, maybe that was because he felt like he had to do a little bit more than he was the years before that, but he just had really a lot of missed tackles, and that really surprised me going into the draft. So, because his game from the year before was better.
Yeah.
So,
100%. All right, let's move along to the round 6, Ray. Who you got on that one that stood out to you?
Yeah, Jalen Duncan from Maryland going to Tennessee. Again, a kid who was like projected as a 3rd-round pick to get him here in the 6th round. Really nice pick. Trey Hodges Tomlinson. So I left part of that out there because I'm tired of saying all these 4-syllable names. But corner from TCU, a little bit smaller, but a nice athlete with really nice hips. Plays really good. Plays a little bigger than his size at 5'9". Yeah. So I think that's good. And I'll give you one. I actually have 6 in this round, or 7 actually. But I'll give you the next one is J.R. Skinner from Boise State.
Yes.
I really thought he was going to be taken. I thought he would no later than like early 4th round.
I was just about to say a 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah, absolute latest.
Yeah.
That's a really nice pick there. So
no, 100%, and it's just ironic that he's gone from one Bronco to another.
Yeah,
I think that's just ironic, but stuff like that always like sticks out to me. A guy I wanted to kind of talk about is Keyshawn Boye. I think that's how you say his name. But Ray, I know that you don't want to hear this, but I thought that was a really good pick from the Patriots. A guy that have a lot of potential. Out in New England haven't been good drafting wide receivers early. So if you could come back and get a guy with this caliber and have, the ability to be a better player later on, I think that this was a great pick for them here. Another guy, Jared Patterson going in the 5th or 6th round, sorry, to the Texans. I mean, I thought the Texans had a really good draft, and I think they hit on most of their picks. Jared Patterson in the 5th round. You in the 5th or 6th? Man, I'm bugging. 6th, yeah, I'm sorry. Having him in the 6th round, it was a steal for me. I thought that was a really good pick for them to get a center. And Ray, you could tell us all about that guy being from Notre Dame.
Excellent football player. Can play guard and center for you. Has actually played right tackle at times. Just a great value pick and a good kid. So
yeah, versatile guy. Yeah. I think he's going to be best suited for the center position. I think they have a guy. I think Nick something. I want to say Nick Hampton. I'm not sure if that's right, but they had a guy that they really like at center, so they might have him at guard. But I would like to see him as. I think he'll succeed more at center in this. But
I think he's a smart kid.
Yeah.
Well, I think he can play either. I think that he played well at center, but played better at guard. He did.
100%.
So,
Definitely. Obviously, another guy that I want to highlight, and I was teasing Ray about the other his team that he hates getting a pick, but I gotta talk about a team that I hate that got a really good pick. And Ray and whoever been watching our podcast should know how we feel about this player.
I already know you're talking about
Deuce Vaughn.
Yep.
Going to the Cowboys. And I did not know his dad was on the coaching staff or the recruiting staff, or however you want to call it. The
scouting.
Yeah, I've been into high school too much, so I'm thinking recruiting. But yeah, scouting. He was on the scouting staff, and they drafted him, and I was like, oh. And the worst part is that it's such a good story, and you want to root for the kid, then you want to root for the story, and then it's like
great story, man. Grows up probably a Cowboys fan. His dad's working for the Cowboys. His dad calls him and tells him the team is going to pick him. And you know what, Jerome? I know you hate the Cowboys, and you know what? I would have hated if he went to the Jets too. But with that background story, he's a great kid, man.
Yeah.
With a lot of some size concerns, but very good player, man. Like he was one of my guys, Jerome. And I'll give you I like Parker Washington from Penn State going to Jacksonville. Yeah. I think he's a good size speed combination. A.T. Perry, wide receiver, going to the Saints from Wake Forest, and Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State going to the Texans. I like that. And Deuce Vaughn I had as one. I think people got some really nice players in this round. Deuce Vaughn was probably the one I was like, wow. As soon as I saw the Cowboys got, I'm like, man, Jerome is going to love that.
Yeah, I think that's a good word for it. Love. Yeah.
Love that.
So bad. Ray was literally the first person I texted when that.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Of all the teams he could have went to.
And then his dad's on the team. I'm like, how did this happen?
You know what's crazy though, Jerome? Do you know some people thought that they just did that because of the father? There are Cowboys fans that have no clue how good this kid's going. Well, I shouldn't say that. People in Texas follow football. There are probably people that don't know how good Deuce Vaughn really is, dude.
Deuce Vaughn is so good, dude. I'm so mad he's over there, man. If the Eagles didn't get DeAndre Swift, I would have been like, get Deuce Vaughn, please. I would have been praying. That would have, if you didn't get Swift, I would have been 5 times more hurt that the Cowboys got Deuce Vaughn. I would have been so hurt. Like, oh man, that was such a good pick. I gotta give it to him for that one, man. The Cowboys had
they had a good solid draft.
Outside of their first round pick, I liked all their draft picks, honestly, which sucks.
I mean, like I said to you before, Jerome, they overreached for the guy, but if they get him on the field, they had a solid draft. They did. I mean, like, it's funny how, like, when you see teams where their first 2 picks, you're like, that's okay. And then when they have later rounds where they take advantage, I'm like, wow, that really kind of just boosted them first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it
really does, man.
Yeah,
it does. It really does.
Rounds it out.
I mean, I have a few picks in this round I wasn't crazy about. Of course, the Patriots taking Bryce Barringer, a punter from Michigan State. You know what? I understand. I understand the Patriots roster is so talented that they can expect special teams in the third and 4th round. I'm glad for them, but I think they should concentrate on fixing their quarterback position. But whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree, but I did say this, right? I did say that in our mock draft that the Patriots will probably not draft a quarterback, and if they do, it's gonna be really late because they got Bailey Zappi, and I think they really like him. And if they're not gonna do Mac Jones, they're gonna at least try to get Bailey Zappi some time to play because that was his rookie season that he was in last year. So we'll see.
I don't. You know what's funny though, Jerome? I just don't. I mean, I think they hire what's his name back as their offensive coordinator. I think that's going to help them because you have a real offensive coordinator now.
Yeah.
I know what man, and I'm not a Mac Jones hater. I know a lot of Dolphins fans think they're going to tell you that he sucks now and all that stuff. I mean, I don't think he sucks. I don't think he was like the next Tom Brady like they acted 2 years ago when he played well in his rookie year. Yeah. But I think he's a good, solid quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Zappi is a nice insurance policy. But I think really, if you ask Bill Belichick, he would rather Zappi be the starter. But I don't think he's going to leave it up to the offensive coach to figure that out. So.
Yep. Yep. No, you're right. It does seem like he tried. He's been trying to get Zappy in that lineup, but
What perfect case scenario is you get a chance to play both of them next year for
mhm,
injury or whatever it is, and both of them play well. Because
yep.
then if you feel comfortable moving on with one or the other, then maybe you could trade one of them for something. I
Mhm.
mean, you're never going to get. That's why I think they were. I know they were stupid for taking that kid in the top 20. They were,
Oh.
but you did it now. So you got to
Mhm.
try to get back
Make
whatever
the
you
most
can
of it.
for him now.
Yeah.
Or, hopefully he plays better and he's your starter for the next years or so.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing too. Like we all gotta be conscious of. I know this is 2023. It's the speed. We didn't want things fast, but some of these guys develop late. You seen what happened to Geno Smith. He looked very good last year. So I still want to see more out of him, but it took him a while to kind of get it clicking. So sometimes it's just the case where guys need to kind of develop sometimes.
That's wrong. We say it all the time. Sometimes it's where you get picked and who you get picked by.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on a guy that's taken early to try to get on the field as soon as he
A lot of
can.
expectations. Yeah.
But usually when you're taken that early, you're not a good team.
Yep.
So you're like, okay, we need to get the kid out there, but we're really not that good. So how can we protect him? I mean, it's very rare that a great quarterback is drafted by a good team.
Yeah.
And as much as I like Patrick Mahomes, the kid's a great player, but he landed in a really good spot for himself.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, with Andy Reid on that team, with the roster that he had when he got there,
Yeah.
playing behind the other guy for the year that he played behind him, Alex Smith, which really, man, that's a lot. He had a perfect case scenario to turn into like, yeah, man, I'm not Patrick Mahomes the best player in football, but he had a lot of help to get there.
Yeah, a lot of support. Yeah,
Correct.
including the coaching staff because
Correct.
you can't diminish that he didn't have a
That
good
we
coaching
know
staff. So.
we may not always agree with Andy Reid and may not always like him, especially when he coached here for a while there. But you can't deny the guy's ability to draft and get a lot out of the quarterbacks to play under him.
100%.
I mean, there's not one that he played that had playing with him that when they left were better. Not one.
Yeah.
Not one. Not one.
I'm trying to think what other quarterbacks that he drafted. I know
Only quarterback
he drafted McNabb.
drafted
He only
Cobb,
really drafted who? Oh, Cobb. Yeah, he did.
and he got a
Cobb.
second-round pick for Kevin Cobb because he
Did
played
draft
that
Cobb.
well under Andy Reid.
Yeah, you're right. He did
Drafted
draft
Nick
Cobb.
Foles, played well under Andy Reid, played better after Andy Reid left here.
Yeah.
But again, he was a guy. Nick Foles' biggest problem was he gets hurt too much.
Yeah, 100%.
It's always been that. Even when he was in school, he got hurt a little bit too much. Now, he did play on a bad team in college, Arizona, and got the snot beat out of him half the time. But, I mean, that was his problem in college. That was his problem in the NFL. He's a good quarterback. He just can't stay healthy all the time.
100%.
I mean, Cobb, there's other quarterbacks that I'm not remembering that he just brought in here or into Philadelphia. And, I mean, Alex Smith was not a great quarterback before Andy Reid got him under his wing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looked like he was going to be a bust.
Like
And then Andy Reid gets hold of him and he looks like a star.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Kevin Cobb, there's other quarterbacks that I'm not remembering, but but there's, man, Andy Reid develops quarterbacks.
He does.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he made Michael Vick look like a good quarterback.
Oh, don't act like he wasn't though.
He wasn't.
I wouldn't say he made him look better, but he did make him improve his passing though.
He turned him into a real quarterback instead of an athlete who played quarterback.
Yeah. But you made it seem like it was just like the coaching.
Michael Vick is Lamar Jackson.
The way you said it though.
Michael Vick was Lamar Jackson.
For the Eagles?
No, with more baggage. With Atlanta.
Oh yeah. He was a faster Lamar Jackson,
Yeah.
And more agile, and he was really good at running. Don't get me wrong, he was really good at running.
He's
and two, you know what? There wasn't a lot of Michael Vicks back then either, so it was hard to scheme
Michael
against
Vick was
a guy like that.
probably a better overall prospect than Lamar Jackson was.
Oh yeah, hands
But
down.
Michael Vick was not accurate on short passes either, though.
Correct. No, you're right.
So
You're right. Definitely. One thing I love about Michael Vick though, and they go like 80 yards. Like,
no, he could.
he didn't even have to.
No, he didn't.
It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Just weirdo watching them because it's like them lefties, man. They always kind of mess you up.
Yeah,
they kind of look like they're doing everything backwards.
Yeah,
even with Tua. Tua's been on Miami for 3 years now. I still find it weird when I see him throw the ball.
Definitely. All right, let's get to the last round real quick. Round 7. Ray, who sticks out to you in this round?
Yeah, this is the one I told you earlier. I just like a few picks here. I like Zach Kuntz, tight end who went to the Jets out of Old Dominion.
Tall guy. I think he's like 6'8" or something.
Yeah, he's like 6'8". I like him.
Super tall.
As a guy who's a nice prospect.
6'7".
Yeah, I mean, like Vikings took Dwayne McBride, running back out of UAB.
I was about to say him too, Ray.
I like him. I like Muro Ojomo from Texas, who the Eagles drafted in the 7th round. I like him as a versatile guy that can come in and do a lot of different things for you. I like Javarius Owens, safety who went to the Giants from Houston. And I like wide receiver Pant Dubose from Charlotte going to the Packers.
Yeah.
I think all of those picks, man. They were guys that were probably projected a little bit earlier, but I just see why the teams took a shot on them, that they think 100%. They can get something out of them in the 7th round. So
100%. Ray, I think I'm a little disappointed you didn't talk about this player. This guy was probably going to be a 2nd round pick. Got injured during combine. Still benched like 35 reps with a broken leg, and that would be the man, Andrew Voorhees from USC. Very, very talented guy. And this is the Ravens, man. They do stuff like this. They take guys, very talented, maybe might be injured, maybe have to redshirt them for a year, and then they just come out and really good players. And I think, Andrew Voorhees is a really, really talented guy, very strong, big guy. Obviously, again, you're going to have to redshirt him. That's why you got him in the 7th round. But to get somebody like that, and you got to remember, the draft is not about tomorrow, dude. The draft is about the future. So you could get somebody like this in the 7th round, redshirt him for a year, get him in rehab, get him going, get him acclimated to the game real fast, give him 2 or 3 years, he'd be starting, and man, we might be looking at this like, dang, that was a really good pick, man. Really good pick. So I like picks like that, Ray.
No, I like the pick. I just think that Baltimore's a weird team for me because they're never going to win anything ever again, so I don't have to worry about them. They're completely out of my brain, man. I'm
dead.
I don't have to worry about them anymore. They're done. So
because they got Lamar Jackson back.
Yeah,
I know it.
They paid him all the money. It's over now. They're done. So
That's crazy. That's crazy. I do want to highlight a couple of guys, like you said, Amaro Ojomo, Texas, a guy that a lot of people thought was going to be higher, real good. They have him listed at DT, but he can be a versatile. He can put him on the outside, he can put him inside. He could be a 3-4 end. I think he's actually perfect for a 3-4 end. So somebody like that, I really do think he got a lot of talent. Just teach him some more pass rushing moves and get up the field a little bit. He could be a good rotational guy. Obviously, I'm going to talk about this guy, Ronnie Bell, going at the end of the 7th round to the San Fran. I actually love this pick because if you guys listen to me and what I thought about Ronnie Bell, I like Ronnie Bell a lot. He's very athletic. He can get open. His issue was his dropping. He dropped the ball a lot. But if you could get him in the 7th round, teach him to concentrate on the ball a little bit better, and that's not easy to teach. But if you can teach him to catch the ball, he could be a solid guy for you guys. He could put him in a slot for you guys, and return game. I think that's a good pick. Right? You got this smirk in your face.
No, because I love Brandon Ayuk, who plays for the 49ers.
Yeah.
But you just described him to the T. Good player, get the ball in his hands, makes a lot of plays, but he has some dropping issues.
Correct. Yeah,
Sounds
no,
just like
you're right.
a player.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, definitely. I actually like that comparison because it's they yeah the same things. So and I think this is last year on his contract. So
I like Brandon Ayuk, man. I like Ronnie
I
Bell.
do.
I think the 49ers, that's why when I remember when their quarterbacks got hurt last year, the guy was saying to me, "Oh man, what do you think the 49ers are going to do about quarterback?" I'm like, Brock Purdy. They're like, "What do you mean Brock Purdy? The kid's a 7th round pick." I'm like, "Yeah, man, he's got good game film. He was a good player in college for a year and a half. Didn't play with a lot of talent, but was a solid player. And right now, he has no game film for anyone to prepare with. So just see what happens."
Yeah.
And honestly, Jerome, except for running into a buzzsaw that turned out to be the Eagles that year, they were as good as any team in the NFC.
You're right. You're right. So I agree. I agree. All right, let's talk about some questionable pick. Ray, you got anything in mind? I definitely do.
There was one I saw that was really bad, but I can't remember who it was.
I feel like you're gonna say Max Duggan.
No,
I think it was a solid pick actually. Max Duggan in the
yeah,
7th round.
I don't like picking
guy.
on. I don't like picking on 7th round picks because they are
Yeah.
complete projects.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Cooper Hodges, Appalachian State offensive lineman, a little undersized, a little underwhelming. But I mean, again, you are talking about a 7th round pick,
Yeah.
and a kid who's 6'4", 305. I mean, it's not like he has no upside at all. And there's really no one in this round that really has me like. I want to ask you a question though.
Yeah.
Before we get off here. No, Miami drafted Ryan Hayes from Michigan.
Yeah.
Guard or tackle?
Guard.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah. I like him a lot. I actually like him more than Double O, actually. I thought he looked a little bit better at the Senior Bowl. So when he got to the 7th round and Double O went in the 6th round, I was kind of surprised by that. I thought, Ryan would have been a little bit higher than that, but I think he's a solid guy. You can probably use him as a swing tackle if he is good enough.
That's really, I think, what Miami's thinking. We'll bring him in. We think we have our starters.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a guy that could maybe back up at both spots now.
100%.
Or maybe
you got a lot of young guys on that line.
Left tackle and left guard, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that. Really, Jerome, I like most of the 7th round picks, so I really do.
Yeah.
There's none of them that just stands out to me like not a great pick,
So there's one pick I didn't like, and it wasn't because of the player, it wasn't because of the team, it's because what the team already had on their roster. And that would be Kenny McIntosh. I love the pick. I think that was a good pick. Why not stack them up? But Kenny McIntosh, I think it will be a very, very solid number 2, and now he's going to be a number 3 behind Charbonnet and what's his name from Kenny Walker.
Kenny Walker,
yeah. So he will be at best he will be 3rd because there's possibilities that forgot the other guy they had last year, the other running backs they had last year. So he might be a 4th guy or might even be on practice squad. But I think he's a very solid number 2. You can rotate him in. He runs a little high, and I think that might be the issue with him. He's obviously not the fastest guy, but I really like him as a number 2 guy. He's gonna be, and I'm not comparing him as far as the type of player, but he could be like a Samaje Perine who comes in, plays very well for the starter, and rotate him in. So
I think what you might see is you'll see the other 2 guys get some early carries, maybe some series, and maybe McIntosh would be settling as a 3rd down back behind both of those guys.
That's true.
I mean, his one thing he does really well is catch the ball.
Yeah.
So I can see where he can come in and do that for you. Again, I think it's for in the 7th round, it's really good value though, man.
Yeah. It's just the fact they just drafted 3 running backs.
I get that. You know what else? I was surprised that Max Duggan will last until the 7th round. I really was surprised by that.
I'm surprised there was other quarterbacks before him.
Like you don't think he has more upside than Bennett?
Dude, he should have went to the
Than
Rams.
Sean Clifford?
He'd have been so good on the Rams.
I mean, you don't think he's better than Sean Clifford? Wow.
Definitely. He would have been he was in so much better on the Rams. So much better on the Rams.
I don't get it, man. But again, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess the Rams had the idea of all Georgia backfield for quarterbacks. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Just realized that. Wow.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I mean, maybe it's the Tides because I think that and I know they didn't play together, but I think Stafford was like mentoring him. You know, obviously alumni.
I'm sure they know each other without a doubt.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I think it was more like a relationship kind of thing. You know what I mean? But
I mean, I'm sure Stafford is loving how good Georgia is right now. Anybody who's associated with Georgia, probably loves where the program is right now. They've been waiting to be there for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if you're a Georgia fan, you're loving this. I mean, you haven't been this good since Churchill Washington.
Talk about the Georgia fans.
No, dude, like I just know that Georgia hasn't been this relevant since Churchill Walker played there. And that was like 2 years ago.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So I agree with you. So they have a right to be happy, but you know.
Yes. I don't like it either,
Joe. A little too big headed right now. Calm down.
Well, that's because they finally slayed the dragon.
Yeah.
They think they're the new dragon now, dude.
Yeah.
That's why they think
right.
we're recruiting.
Leave my team alone. Leave my team alone, Georgia.
Jeez. We're drafting. We're recruiting as well.
I'm a Michigan fan down here.
Do they hate Michigan down there?
I guess because every time I talk about Michigan, oh yeah, we beat you guys. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Anyway, but yeah, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. That was great talking about some draft picks. I'm glad that we got to finish this up a little bit and got to talk about maybe some players on your teams that maybe you didn't know about, and we gave you a little insight of how your team guys are going to be on your team. So definitely enjoyed the draft. I love talking draft. I'm super excited to get to the next one because right off the bat, we're going to be talking about a lot of players that are going to be in next year's draft. So stay locked in with us. We're going to do some college football talk next week. We're going to probably go I'm thinking doing some team by team and analytics. We usually go conference by conference and rank the teams and stuff like that. We might just go team by team this year to kind of draw, put more emphasis on teams, instead of, how we used to do it where we just briefly talked about a team. So we got plenty of time. We got plenty of teams to talk about. Probably do like 2 or 3 teams a week. So definitely stay locked in with us. Before we get off, let's get to some Ray rants. Ray, you got anything for us today?
You know what? I'm going to just follow up on what I actually was going to talk about for the last couple of weeks, but we've been running long segments lately. Well, I think I'm kind of glad that the Baltimore did the right thing by re-signing Lamar Jackson. I really am. I was just glad to see them re-sign him, and I was glad that they brought in the receiver that he wanted, and then they drafted Zay Flowers, who I think is a really nice player.
Yeah,
and
he's a better Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, I would just like them to bring in another wide receiver because I'm tired of all the excuses. That's all, man.
Yeah. Well, they still got Duvernay. They still got Batman. So now that they don't have to be the guy, it might be better for them.
I mean, I just think that there's always an excuse for the guy not winning. That's all. And I'm a little bit tired of the excuses.
Yeah. Well, no excuses now. He got weapons.
Yeah, I know everybody. Nobody. It's funny though. It's funny because I was watching yesterday was the beginning, or 2 days ago was the beginning of rookie minicast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Hurts was at his minicamp.
Mm-hmm.
Good guy. Tua was at his minicamp. Good guy. Aaron Rodgers got out of his dark closet and made his way to minicamp. Good guy. Patrick Mahomes was at minicamp, of course. Josh Allen was at minicamp, of course. Guess who wasn't at minicamp after signing for how much money?
More than Jalen Hurts.
Right. And where was he at? Yeah, during minicamp, probably in Pompano Beach, Florida, still spending his money. Good for him. Good job, Baltimore. You're done.
Oh my goodness.
Done.
Ray.
It's over.
I'm gonna.
You already got to compete. I already got to compete with Buffalo, and now the Jets, and I got to compete with Kansas City and the Chargers, and and the Browns and the Steelers and the Bengals. I'm glad Baltimore's done. I'm glad about that. Good deal.
Man, I'm gonna make a compilation of Ray talking about Lamar Jackson over this all season.
It's going to be great, man.
It's gonna be one full podcast of just Ray talking about Lamar Jackson.
I have been getting a lot of flack from the guys that I work around. I don't work with them because they're residents where I work.
Gotcha.
And oh my God, dude, hey, they just want to show you.
Oh man,
I keep telling them, man.
I'm gonna have to pay Coach Braxton on so y'all can talk.
I can't wait, man. It's gonna be great. Can't wait. I remember one last year when they were playing, when the Ravens was playing Miami, and the Ravens was winning by like 3 scores. It's like the middle of the fourth quarter. And then Miami's like, yo, man, we can't. The defense is like, we can't keep blitzing Lamar Jackson. Every time we blitz him, he runs away from somebody. He runs the ball for 30, 40 yards. So you know what? Let's just detain him, keep him in the pocket. They did that for a quarter and a half, and it allowed them to get right back in the game. And even then, Miami's down by 3 points. And then Lamar Jackson fakes the run. He drops back, and you got St. Andrews busting the seam all by himself. Bateman, like the split outside the hash, they're wide open, and the ball's right between both of them. It was great. Miami gets the ball again. They score. Game over. Love it.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. Ray's so funny, man. But that's gonna do it for us today, man. That was a good segment, man. I love Ray's rants, and I hope you do too. So if you do, definitely go hit that like button, subscribe to us on YouTube, right under Ray. So it's perfect. You got the QR code right under you,
right
so
there,
right there, and let him. Tell us what you think about Ray's rants, man. Let us know what you think about Ray rants, and
I'm sure there's a lot of Ravens fans out there that completely disagree with me, but it's okay. We'll be the first
comment. We do comment back on every comment, so definitely put your comments at the bottom. Let us know what you think about Ray's rants, and what you let us know what teams you want us to talk about next week. We can talk about any teams. Range. So. Yeah, do that. Like and subscribe. Tell us what type of teams that you want us to talk about next week. We'll probably do like 3 or 4, like I said, any college football teams, and we'll try to analyze it and talk about those teams. So that's gonna do it for today, guys. I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one and go Nuggets! Woo! Let's go.